We got newsletters. We talk about the rebates. We talk about our workshops. What's going on with the district. This talks a lot about everything happening. We're trying everything to get people aware. We are trying to help you, to get you on board for rebates, saving people. We've got our workshop flyer. 341 toilets were replaced at a residence out here. 1, 2, 3 toilets doesn't. And so when you go into a commercial property, it's 300 and maybe it was 314. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of water. We work with other agencies. We go into town councils and speak. We go do TNOX with Palm Bay Water. We work with LA County Waterworks and Palm Bay Water for the County Garden Show. We look around town, and how else do we get our word out? Look at our trucks. You come in, you pay your bill, you get a receipt. This is the back of your receipt. It's got water savings. Somebody throws it in a handbag or in the car. They pick it up later though, and they're like, save, save, what did I save? And it gets their attention. That's what we have to do, is get their attention. So here we've got some signs we put in yards when they do the rebate, take out their grass. We also did these as billboards. One of our favorites, the Almond Blossom Festival. So much information about conservation and handouts. We've got to get the kids involved. We offer these opportunities for the children. We have a huge display of drought-tolerant plants. We have people every college talking about it. Students. Everything's labeled. This is what you can do at home, easy, make a difference. We go to classrooms. Look how happy those kids are getting soda. We also give them materials to take home. That's so powerful. When they go home, they're like, Mom, turn it off when you're brushing your teeth. It may seem like the little things, but that's the people growing up that need to learn how to do it. That's how we have to get our message home. For the middle schoolers and high schoolers, we went with social media. The only thing we've done is social media. We thought, how are we going to get these kids to know at this age? Conservation matters, water matters. We did a flash mob. We took it down, we thought we'll get 1,000 hits. We'll be so excited. We took it down to 10,000 hits. So let's see what happens. We put it back up, we're at 18,508. We help out with other agencies. Roseman's Community Service District here, that's 4 of their staff members. Came on in, spent an hour and a half, wanted to see, what are you doing? We don't mind helping. We did an ad working with the Antelope Valley Water Partners. Here's another billboard we did. At the time, that was our rebate dollars given to customers. Channel 7 came out. Save water by There's Ted. The biggest thing we showed on TV though, and the calls started coming right away. We had a display the management thought up and the staff built that was at the Almond Blossom Festival. It had a rotator nozzle and had an old school pump. And the difference in water, you all know here, people don't know. And they can see it in 2 minutes, the difference in the water flow in this tank. They showed it on TV. So this is the summary of our rebate dollars given out in the last 3 fiscal years to our customers. $176,909. If you look at the turf we've removed alone, because that's the big savings, we got to get the grass up. This past fiscal year, we issued $97,721. And if you calculate that out, which we did for you, annually, we will not save. We will save at least 7.2 million gallons annually. So we're a small cog in the Antelope Valley wheel, and if we can do that, we're working, and everyone.
Well, that's very, very innovative right there, and that's a tremendous job right there. And in AVEK, we try to help a little bit. With some money, it's going to be granted to the retail and the water agencies. And I think
I'm going to tell you right now.
Thank you. I've turned in my application.
Oh, it's just, I wish we could share this with some of the other retail water agencies, and you have to an extent with those ones. So it would be nice, and I don't know if you would like to make that presentation to some of the other retail water agencies, or if AVEK, if you did not, if AVEK could share and possibly make that available throughout the AVEK district.
I mean,
That's pretty innovative.
thank you very much. We're very proud. We work very hard at it, and it's something we do very safe. And, you know, anyway, I've actually coordinated with a couple of local homeowners associations for a couple of the big water wasters. And one thing I neglected to mention, the average customer took out 4,100 square feet in our area. That's a big deal because we have the bigger lots.
I think the board will agree it's probably the best routine in Yellow Mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've worked with Linda plenty and Dave, you know, I don't have any problem, they all know that. We have smaller mutuals calling us because of the reputation of our district, say, we don't know what to do, can you help? Absolutely, we're very eager to work together with people.
Major people that just started, they're trying to see what can I do, and a successful program like that, to try to help, you know, copy part of it.
Yeah, I have no problem sharing or giving a presentation, and I thank you for your time. Quartz Water District is doing everything else.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but once they sprinkler nozzle rules, you actually have.
I do.
They actually pull the nozzles instead of having to go to the retailers, because there's different prices for different, you know, as a contractor, I get one price, and as a retailer, I get another price. They get a price probably cheaper than I can get as a contractor.
They end up paying nothing for the
And
nozzles.
so they, in the homeowner case, nothing for the nozzles.
Yeah.
If they look up themselves, it might cost them $1 or something like that. But
And there are people that choose the taller pop-ups. We just carry one kind. We don't have a variety of 4-inch.
I don't know if you had time to think about it, or Chad had time to think about it, so you're gonna get money from us, you know,
Yes.
are you going to apply that, increase it to the lawn, or just basically?
Yes.
Because when I was hoping when this whole thing started, we started seeing around, trying to somehow get up to the $4 mark per square foot to really jumpstart that or something like that, you know. Yeah, it's just, I know you're gonna do what you're gonna do with the money, but the lawn part is, like you said, is probably the biggest.
It is, and you know, since our tiered structure, all of the conservation money that we have available to offer the customers is going to start getting smaller because people aren't going to be hitting those higher tiers anymore. So that money certainly is essential in continuing to get more people interested in the program and offering a higher dollar.
I don't know if there is any in Quartz Hill, but this is a thought, if they decide to go, you know, to the $3 range, somewhere around there, that maybe AVEK could participate in, I mean, part of that money is for advertising or something like that, we could do a joint billboard in downtown Quartz Hill, say, you know, contact Quartz Hill Water District, to see how you can get $3, you know, some kind of promotion from.
just on that topic, I think we've talked about that a little bit, maybe about billboards, but again, probably a plan would be to say, water, probably earlier, we're dealing with everybody. You know, whether it's you, Palmdale Water District, or Quartz Hill, or Roseman, or White Fence Farms, or whoever is wanting to do that, what he thinks they have. We probably should do a more regional approach.
I just know the dollar amount, we can't see dollars for some reason, they're just,
Well, and I can tell you they're seeing it right now on TV. They're seeing everything from Los Angeles, and they're calling us already saying, I heard you're giving $3 a square foot.
okay,
So people, I think that they've spent the money down below for us.
You know, and keep a thought, keep this, I just brought it up as a suggestion because we're probably gonna all get there, you know, down the road. But I know certain areas you can get billboards, certain areas you can't get billboards, but, you know, Quartz Hill being right, you know, down right here, we're in Quartz Hill, so there's an opportunity to do something and put it right in front of their face.
Well, we've done 5, and they were
How much?
5 of them, 5 billboards, and they run for a month each. We've done them. I can say it's not been the most successful means for us, but
What is?
I think that our effort as a district getting the word out has been the most successful.
Yard sign.
Yeah, we do
I would
get
say
a lot.
the yard sign, because once you get one guy on that street, and you get the city sign out, sorry to interrupt,
That's okay.
I said, the yard sign seems to really, and it's cheap.
So you are using the yard signs?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Interesting.
Thank you very much. Any more comments from the public?
Department of Water Resources went down to state employees, and so we set up a JPA that state water contractors involved. And there's two components to the annual dues. One is just an administrative that they do by Table A, and then there's another component that goes by the project that they do. And the Delta specific, a lot of it is investigations and water quality monitoring in the Delta. And so AVEK pays, I think it's about 3.5% of the total. So the contractors most of the contractors participate in this, and it's probably money very well spent, because otherwise they would be hiring state employees to do this kind of work and then just put it in our bills. So that's one of the reasons we set up this authority. So it's a State Water Contractors Authority, which is a little different than the State Water Contractors Incorporated that I've spoken about. That's the organization that represents the 27 contractors of the 29. So this is the authority. They're actually under the Brown Act. They're actually a Joint Powers Authority, and they contract to do work. So it's a more efficient and quicker way to get work done.
I move on board order 681.
We have a motion and a second to approve the membership dues of the State Water Contractors Authority. Any more questions or discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Approved.
Essentially a stranded asset. They had water that they had put in the AV water bank, and they were not able to get it back. So we were trying to facilitate in this dry year. We want to find a way to facilitate getting the water back to them. They don't have a lot of cash, and so what we did is we kind of set up an arrangement where they would deliver untreated water to our facility. We would treat it and pump it and deliver it to their turnout. And so it's more of an exchange than it is actually pay for service. This letter, I think we briefed the board on this when we sent it. We sent it over to them. We wanted their board to be okay with it, finalize it. They signed it. They've sent it back to us, and so now it's just for our board of directors to approve it and sign off.
You get approval of board members.
Hold on a second. And you've been working on that for some time, you know,
Yeah.
a month or two, a couple of months, and they know that's on precedent.
Oh, yeah. No, in fact, it's pretty clear that it's not precedent. They welcome the opportunity to make it work this year, but they recognize it's not going to be happening.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the wheeling agreement with Oakland Community Services District. Any more questions or discussion? All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Approved. Item 8A.
Continuing to drop from a percent or two since last board meeting. San Luis is at 43%, which is about 19 or 20% of capacity. We are working on a plan for 2015. If we used water we have available, facilities we have available, we would need at least 15% allocation from the state water project. So we're actively trying to get other assets in place, other things in place, including the east side of town, so that we can cover that if we don't get a 15% allocation. We're going to be working on that. Staff's going to be working on that, give you a better handle on what we're looking at, each one of these components. But that's kind of just to give you an overview that right now with existing facilities, existing water, we would need an allocation of the state water project of about 15% to meet what we would anticipate next year's demands. So, we're in pretty good shape if we need to cover that next 15%. Bill's at 47%. San Luis at 43%. The little red line is historical average.
What's going on with the state?
Well, what's happening this year is there's a provision in the contract that the contractors that have those that are paying for those terminal reservoirs like Cascade, they can borrow water out of those reservoirs. And so that's what's actually happening is those Metropolitan, for example, is using what they call flex storage, and they're actually borrowing storage out of that. The terminal reservoirs normally or initially were set up to be earthquake insurance. If you had a problem on the main line of the aqueduct, you'd have water in Southern California. So the department has always been pretty careful about keeping those as full as possible. In a year like this, the contractors in Southern California, Metropolitan, those that, well, like Cascade Lake, Ventura, and Net, they can borrow out of that reservoir. So that's why it's down a little bit. Normally, you would drive by Cascade and always be full, because they try to keep it topped off, because it's that earthquake insurance. This year, they're actually borrowing the water. I anticipate the same thing to happen, in Paris. Paris, they're actually going to borrow water out of Paris, run the water backwards in one of the treatment plants. So they're really pulling all the stops out to utilize as much of the water as available. Here's the Oroville storage, and we're still on the Central Valley project with the Paris Bureau Reclamation Share. Water banking, we've got wells going, our domestic wells and our water bank are continuing to go in 80th and H, being disinfected and delivered to Waterworks 40. Ag wells are being pumped. We have 6 ag wells running, and there's about 5,000 PM or so going into West Feeder, and that's supplying our northern service area. We are sending a letter to the county. One of the concerns the board had about this town and country plan, that they had sensitive environmental areas and that it might impact our water banking opportunities. We are in conversation with their staff, but we're also sending a letter to them. We've already got it put together to say, okay, you're going to exclude these, we're still going to do the bank in those areas. So we're going to give them they're going to give us some attention. I'm going to be actively engaged in that.
Can we,
the state water project, the billing process is I think it's fair, but it's very, very complex. And everything they allocate to individual contractors. And there was one component it's probably about $160 million, and it's called the revenue bond surcharge. And they oftentimes make an estimate because they can't figure it all out right then because some of the costs aren't finalized and stuff. So they make an estimate and they send us a bill based on that estimate. And then the next bill comes along and they estimate it and they send us another bill. Well, they've been kind of kicking the can down the road for about 10 years. And the auditor said, this is it. We need to have the real numbers here. And the department said, well, we estimated these and we'll get around to them. They just said, there's certain things that in our audit report, we can say, hey, you're working on it, but this is going on too long, and we have to have real numbers. That's the auditors that were auditing for Metropolitan. We have Ernst & Young do our audit, and this is Richardson and Company. They're very frustrated with the estimating process. So is this, because the water bond is supposed to be tunnel neutral. It doesn't have anything to do with the Twin Tunnel project. But I asked the question, if this didn't pass, does it affect the twin tunnels? And it doesn't directly, but I mean from a political standpoint, some people are going to see it as a referendum on those twin tunnels, even though they're not related. So I haven't heard any polling numbers on the bond itself.
Depends on how dry it is in an election. We get a lot of